heartaches by the number, troubles by the score. Every day you love me less, each day I love you more. Yes, I've got heartaches by the number.
Thumbs, I want. Hey, Smooth Skin. Over here, Smooth Skin. Give me your thumbs, Smooth Skin. I really want to eat your thumbs. I'm gonna eat your thumbs. This week I watched.
I never knew that I could hurt this way. And heartache number 2 was when you came back again. You came back with memories. Yes, I've got heartaches by the number.
Who even was that guy? God, I hate the wastelands. Whew.
Yes, I've got heartaches by the number, a love that I can't win. But the day that I stop counting, that's the day.
The second season of the Amazon TV show Fallout ambitiously tries to follow up on the story of the first, but from the very start, it felt like it failed to deliver. Instead of building on the more focused, methodical journey of Season 1, Season 2 introduces numerous new plots in the same amount of time, leaving each individual thread feeling underdeveloped and unresolved, resulting in a final product that feels unbalanced and rushed. Despite the hype surrounding this installment returning to the iconic New Vegas for the first time since 2010, and in live action for the first time ever, the second season seemed like it was set up to succeed. Instead, the season ran into some major problems that plagued nearly every episode. Firstly, the show tries to balance too many plot lines for the amount of time it has. Secondly, the show's current compressed streaming era structure leaves little room for character development. And finally, the fact that the whole show should have taken a different approach from the start, namely an anthology-styled series with a smaller, more focused narrative and cast. Together, these problems explain why Fallout Season 2 is overall a weak season of the show, and despite the New Vegas fan service and some excellent character performances, by chasing the current runtime and structural trends of streaming series, while introducing even more storylines, it sacrifices any chance it had of creating a well-paced, cohesive, and enjoyable season of television. Especially compared to the first season of the show, Season 2 suffers from a problem plaguing many other modern streaming series. It attempts to juggle the too many simultaneous storylines with a very limited episode count. Storylines more suitable for longer 13+ episode seasons, resulting in a narrative that feels unfocused. Throughout the season, the narrative switches between several arcs. You've got Lucy and the Ghoul's pursuit of her father Hank through the Mojave and then eventually New Vegas, Maximus's continued involvement with the Brotherhood of Steel and the impending Civil War, Norm's discovery of the frozen Vault-Tec interns, the increasingly bizarre feud between Reg and Betty in Vault 33, a wedding, the return of the Legion, and the continuation of Cooper Howard's pre-war life. In any given episode, the show alternates between a selection of these storylines, often favouring a main story that drives the plot for that week. Take episode 2, for example, a Maximus-centred episode, which opens with a flashback to his childhood in Shady Sands, catches up to his current-day status as a Brotherhood Knight as the A-plot, which is interspersed by Lucy, Hank, and Norm's respective plots. Because the show attempts to follow so many separate stories simultaneously, none of them receive enough time to fully develop, and many stories are skipped for episodes at a time. Note how Steph and Chet, Reg and Betty, and the pre-war story are completely absent from this episode. This pacing problem is only exacerbated by the show's newly adopted weekly release schedule instead of the first season's simultaneous release. In the world of the show, only a few days may pass as Norm escapes the vault and leads the interns to the Vault-Tec headquarters. However, for viewers watching week to week, this story stretches across 3 to 4 weeks, meaning a character might disappear from the narrative for a month in real time, making their plot feel more developed than it actually does, as if it actually were a journey taking place across an entire month. The result is a season that is paradoxically both rushed and slow.
How can it be both?
Individual plot points happen relatively quickly to the characters, yet the overall progression feels dragged out because the audience is waiting to return to the storyline that they haven't seen for a few weeks. The show's attempt to portray so many factions and characters means the season's overall progression is weakened, thanks to the adherence to the modern streaming show time slot.
Hello?
Oh my gosh. Robert Edwin House, it is an honor.
So, we meet in person, finally, so to speak.
Hey, while you're here, I'd like to ask you, how would you go about running a TV show like this?
I would rule as a chief executive. I would not answer to a board of directors or any other entity.
Perfect. Even better. Now let's say this show has half a dozen different storylines, but only 8 episodes to deal with them all. What would you call that?
Not good for business.
Exactly. They're so locked into the streaming format that they don't have any time to breathe. Oh.
If you want to see the fate of democracies, look out the windows.
Oh, Mr. House, that's so freaking insightful. You know, you should definitely be running this show.
I'd rather sidestep it altogether.
Another major issue with the season, and many other modern TV shows, is the lack of breathing room. Thanks to the much shorter runtime. Despite having the ambitions of a longer season, the show is forced to cut out all the quieter character-focused moments, or slower episodes that deepen the relationships and the world around them, with every scene instead functioning as a direct step to the next plot point. What makes this problem especially noticeable is how dramatically television has changed over the last 2 decades. Often, television series contained far more episodes, a dozen at least per season, which allowed writers to include slower, more character-focused installments, primarily about character development. Sometimes dismissed as filler, these episodes actually served an important purpose. They gave audiences time to understand the characters, relationships, and the broader world of the story, before they advanced to the next plot development. Modern streaming television, however, tends to prioritize shorter seasons of 6 to 8 episodes. While this format could work for a more tightly structured narrative, it becomes problematic for a series like Fallout, which tries to juggle a dozen different storylines at a time. The best way to understand this would be to compare Fallout to another recent streaming series like The Paper, the spin-off of The Office that Peacock released in 2025. Despite not being remotely in the same genre as Fallout, I bring this show up for a very relevant reason. The Office ran for 9 seasons overall, which neared 20 episodes each, and actually let its various relationships develop over that time. Everyone was rooting for Jim and Pam to get together, and when they finally do in season 3, it feels incredibly earned and paid off, thanks to the amount of well-done build-up that came before it. On the other hand, The Paper, which dropped all 10 episodes on the same day, depriving viewers of the chance to get to know and love these characters over a longer period, rushed its love story between Ned and Mare, it sounds like a show about horses, by having them declare their love for each other in episode 10 of season 1. I don't know if this was due to the writers not feeling confident if they'd get another season or not, but thanks to the much shorter season length and unwillingness to give the characters time to evolve, it felt incredibly lackluster, especially compared to what came before. Fallout Season 2 suffers from a similar effect. Because the season is limited to 8 episodes while simultaneously attempting to develop multiple major storylines, there is simply no room for scenes that exist purely to explore characters or relationships. Instead of having an episode dedicated to Lucy and Maximus working together to escape a dangerous situation, or the ghoul having to go on a side quest to save Thaddeus, we get the bare minimum in terms of character interaction and plot beats throughout the entire season, the show operating almost entirely to push the narrative efficiency, moving characters from one plot point to the next as quickly as possible. The lack of narrative breathing room is emblematic of how the show's structure is heavily influenced by modern streaming trends that prioritize shorter miniseries-esque seasons masquerading as full TV series. This ultimately undermines Season 2's attempt to tell a more sprawling story covering so many different characters and factions, bolstering the argument that the show's commitment to modern trends has weakened its overall quality. So, Mr. House, what do you think of the show so far?
Disappointing in the extreme.
Geez, that's a bit harsh.
What you see down on the strip is just a fraction of the city's former glory, and yet more than an echo.
But surely you're excited to see New Vegas on the big screen for once, aren't you?
I've spent too many years waiting for this moment to see it fumbled by an insubordinate contractor.
Geez, you can't argue with that.
So you've said before.
Because of all the aforementioned structural problems, a subjectively more effective approach to a Fallout TV series in the first place should have been an anthology format, in which each season focuses on a smaller, more self-contained story following a specific faction or time period each time, avoiding the narrative overcrowding that Season 2 suffers from, while still being able to explore the things that make the Fallout universe so fascinating. Anthology storytelling has proven to be an effective model for many popular, successful modern streaming series. More recently, anthology storytelling has continued to thrive in the streaming area, Series like Black Mirror, American Horror Story, and True Detective demonstrate how focusing each season or episode on a distinct story and cast can allow writers to build more substantial, richer narratives, and more memorable characters. Each season of these series tells a self-contained story with its own themes, tones, and setting, which allows the narrative to remain focused without being burdened by the need to maintain multi-season, long-running storylines like Fallout has to. Adapting an anthology structure would probably solve many of the pacing and structural problems currently plaguing Fallout Season 2. Instead of attempting to balance multiple plotlines across major factions and locations within the one season, the show could dedicate its limited runtime to a single, focused narrative. For example, one season could follow the internal politics of the Brotherhood of Steel, another could focus entirely on a group of Vault Dwellers exploring the wasteland, while another could even follow a season's worth of the Enclave's sinister experiments. By sticking to a specific level of scope, the writers would be able to spend more time developing characters, relationships, and themes, rather than constantly jumping between a dozen different storylines. This structure also mirrors the narrative philosophy of the Fallout games themselves. Each main entry in the series, such as Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 3, introduces a new protagonist and a new region of the wasteland with its own factions, conflicts, and themes. Rather than following a single ongoing storyline with a single character, the games explore different corners of the post-apocalyptic world through largely self-contained narratives, an approach the show needs to take if it wants to emulate the game successfully. Ultimately, the problems that affect Fallout Season 2 come from its attempt to combine a massive sprawling narrative with the short runtime of a typical modern-day streaming television season. An anthology structure would have allowed the series to maintain the style of the Fallout universe while telling smaller, more focused stories. In doing so, it would have avoided many of the structural issues that currently undermine the season, and could have delivered a more cohesive and satisfying adaptation of the franchise.
I was lost.
Whoa, is that you, Yes Man? I'm sorry, but I was talking to Robert.
I don't like Mr. House one bit.
Aww. Anyway, what did you think of the show?
It's great, really, yeah.
Are you sure? You don't want to tell me what you really think?
I wish I could, but I'm neurocomputationally incapable of making decisions like this one.
That's a shame. Hey, did you hear they put Dinky the dinosaur in the show?
I knew there was a positive in it somewhere.
Yeah. It's just a shame he was facing the wrong way.
That's not funny.
In the end, Fallout Season 2 is a much weaker season of television than the first. Not because it lacks any interesting new ideas or strong performances, but because it tries to do too much within too little time, and forces itself into the streaming model that doesn't suit the story it's trying to tell. The New Vegas references and setting are still fun, and there wasn't really a single bad performance, but those few strengths can't truly compensate for a season that feels overstuffed and rushed. The season isn't without value, but the fact of the matter is clear. By chasing the current runtime and pacing trends of streaming television, Fallout Season 2 sacrifices the chance to be the kind of cohesive, well-paced, satisfying season it could have been, and it really would have been better as an anthology series from the start.
My bridges all across.
Thank you very much for watching this video about Fallout. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Please make sure you subscribe, and if you liked this one, I might end up making a more casual video, more conversational video about its pros. I did like some bits of the season, so maybe I could talk about that for a bit longer, similar time. Thanks for watching though, that's a wrap. Hope I don't get killed by a deathclaw on the way out of here.